Thank you for allowing us to present a little bit to your students.
Atul, Dr. Sehgal, the principal, she's here with us. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So lovely too. I think you've got a few participants too. So we can, I think, wait for a couple of minutes and we can start.
Yeah.
How are you, ma'am? How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you, sir?
I've been unwell. I was down with COVID. So
okay.
So it's been.
Oh my God. Actually, it must have been really bad, huh? How was the experience?
I went through. I think it's been a lot of people got it. I was a super carrier, so I gave 8 more people.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
So,
but Atul, if you don't mind, would you consider your symptoms as moderate, or would you consider them as mild?
I was moderate. That's what the doctor says. So I didn't.
What were the symptoms like?
You know, I started by getting fever and chills, and that was okay. So I was quite fine. But after 5-6 days of that, when fever didn't go, so the doctor asked me to get a test done, and I think the tests were not quite okay, Naren. So I never had breathing problems, but my blood tests were not showing good results. So I was put on a 24-hour window where they said we'll have to then put you in the hospital if things don't go okay. And then they put me onto a medicine called HCQC, a chloroquine.
Okay. Okay.
That gave me extreme nausea. It was. I think the next 10 days were horrible. It was. I mean, I won't touch that medicine again. It was through the medicine or whatever, but I got okay. My results got okay, ma'am, and. But I still feel it's been a month now. I still feel very weak. I can't work for more than 10-15 minutes at a stretch. I can't speak for more than 5-7 minutes. And when I go home after work, I just joined work 2 days back. I just feel very tired. I feel as if I've got low-grade fever. And I'm told that this will continue for 5-6 weeks. I don't know. Now, Naren is the expert, so he's going to talk about, apart from self-awareness, we'd love to hear more about COVID from you, Naren.
I would be happy.
Anyway, because we're talking about it and there are some students and others over here.
Yeah.
In a minute. My one learning, Renu ma'am, is, every person who has COVID is a super carrier. So the moment you feel you've got any symptom, whether it's a sore throat or a little bit of fever, just get yourself tested.
And the problem in our country is 80% of the people are not getting tested. That is the reason they are.
I got myself tested after I spoke to Naren and he said, get yourself tested immediately. I also waited for 3 days. And I think there are enough cocktails of medicines that have enough proof to say that it helps. So the sooner you take medication, the better it is. And those 4 or 5 days that are lost, Naren, I think those were probably not right. So at least that's what I've learned. But anyway, it's lovely to be back, and it's lovely to be with the lovely GD Goenka School. Thank you, Dr. Renu.
And I think we should be grateful to you that even after such bad experience, you are back again and you have spared your time and you are with us and with the kids. So that's lovely. That's more inspiring for each one of us.
Thank you, Renu ma'am, and for the students and the teachers on the webinar. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to you, Naren. Naren is in New Jersey right now, or Philadelphia, one of the two. And it must be very early for you, Naren, in the US. So once again, welcome to Ideas That Matter. If some of you have not been to Ideas That Matter, this was our initiative at Shulini University to go out and create a platform to inspire all of you. We all live in tough times. Some of us, like me, have had COVID. Some of us are scared of COVID. Some of us have to go through torturous online lectures the whole day, either giving or taking. The world has turned upside down. And I think all of us need tremendous amount of inspiration every moment of her life. So around 4 to 5 months back, me and a bunch of friends, Naren, Vivek Atre, we decided that we should inspire students, inspire teachers, so that in the process we can get inspired and hopefully we can inspire people around us. And that's where Ideas That Matter started. We've been out of action probably because of me for the last 1 month, but we've done more than 120 webinars across India. We've touched more than 100,000 teachers, more than 200,000 students across the country. It's just been super, super lovely. We're now running
Very nice.
quizzes called Curiosity, and I know your school is also participating. So good luck for that. I wish that you will win the quiz. I love your school, ma'am, because you invited me. That's one, but there was so much energy in the performances that I saw even over the internet. So once again, it's so lovely to be with all of you.
Thank you, Atulji. Very, very nice of you. And
So I'm going to introduce, yeah, sorry, Renu.
I would welcome Mr. Naren also.
I would love to.
So I'm going to quickly introduce Dr. Naren Chirumule, who's our resource person for the day today. So students, teachers.
Excuse me, sorry to interrupt you, Professor Atul. I will do the honors.
Oh, you're going to do that, Mukta? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
allow
yeah.
us to share the screen. Allow us to share the screen.
Please do that, Mukta. Over to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mukta, I'm sharing.
All right, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to this workshop about self-awareness. We are privileged to have with us Dr. Narendra Chirumule, who is presently, as Atul told us all, a panelist who will be addressing us all from Philadelphia. He's co-founder and CEO of Symphony Tech Biologics. He was head R&D at Biocon. Mr. Chirumule is currently member of sub-team of COVID-19 task force, advising Department of Technology on various aspects of pandemic and visiting faculty at Shulini University. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is so beautiful. Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you so much.
We are also honored to
Special,
have with us.
Naren, I told you it's special.
Thank you so much.
We're honored and privileged, sir, to have you with us. We are also honored to have with us Professor Atul Khosla. Professor Atul Khosla is the founder, president, and pro-vice chancellor of Shulini University. He is an entrepreneur, educationist, and management consultant. He started his career in McKinsey & Company, and in the last 25 years as a consultant, he has advised clients in India, Asia, North America, Europe, and Australia. He has done his BTech from IIT Kanpur and is an alumni. He has done his MBA from Jamnabai Bajaj Institute of Management Sciences, Mumbai. We welcome you, Atul sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
We're also honored to have on this panel our respected principal ma'am, Dr. Renu Sehgal. We welcome you, ma'am. You have always been, behind us all, motivating us all to take up all these workshops. And thank you for all your blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mukta ma'am. Thank you very much.
Over to you, Professor Atul.
Thank you, Mukta ma'am. And what a beautiful surprise.
Yes.
Especially the bouquets. I think the roses feel absolutely real. I could even smell the lovely fragrance coming all the way from Rajouri. I think that's where you are. So thank you so much, Mukta ma'am, Renu ma'am, and all the teachers and students on this webinar. When Naren and I conceptualized Ideas That Matter, Naren came back and said, Atul, I speak about science every day. And by the way, quickly about Naren Chirumule, he's been through the journey of Shah Rukh Khan in Swades. You might have all seen that movie,
Yes.
where after NASA, SRK comes back to India. So Naren used to be, one of the leaders in the pharma sciences in the United States. So he was part of big companies like Maersk, which is one of the leading pharma companies, and bunch of others. And I think you were part of a bunch of biotech companies, Naren. You can speak about that.
Sure.
He then, the India bug hit him, and he came back to India with Biocon, where he was head of research. And a lot of work that has happened at Biocon and pharma research is because of Naren and his team. So, Naren, thank you for making and bringing such wonderful drugs to us in India. And Naren refused to speak about science. He said, I don't want to speak about science. I want to speak about self-awareness. I want to speak about my journey, what excites me. Naren is not just a scientist, but a philosopher, students. He plays the flute, he paints, he writes. He's a true philosopher and also a great friend. And hopefully you're going to learn from him, not science and a bit of science too, but more about how he runs his life. And the idea would be, how do you learn more about yourself and become super successful in that journey? So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Naren. Somewhere in between, I could come back, Naren, if you so desire, and I can give my perspectives. But over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Saigal, Ms. Kohli, and Atul. Thank you so much for making this possible for me to present, and of course the students. And students, please, feel free to ask questions. Atul, if you may, at some point, I've opened a blank spreadsheet. What we could do at some point, maybe after the seminar, is to have the students, respond to some questions, and we can fill this Excel spreadsheet as they answer the questions.
Wonderful. Let's try that.
We could use it as a whiteboard. So what I want to speak about today is a series of things that are sort of going on in my mind, and I speak about what I call self-awareness. And the word, and this is not an accident that the title is Experiments with Self-Awareness. As is Atul's idol, I also believe in Gandhiji. He did a lot of very, very important things. And the process of how he did it was very inspirational. And he wrote his Experiments with Truth, and I'm exploring awareness. This is me. In addition to all the work that Atul so kindly talked about, I love to play the tabla, I play the flute, and music is my passion also. But today what I'm going to speak about is art. And how do you use art in your daily life? So my title of my talk is going to be Art, Artists, and the Science of Art. Many of you may recognize some of these paintings. This is Vincent van Gogh on the right, and this is one of his most famous paintings, which I will talk about a little bit later. So in the world of art and the process of becoming self-aware, the way I like to look at myself is these concentric circles. I draw this in my notebook almost every week, as frequently as possible. And in the middle, I write what's affecting me. The next circle is what is affecting my surroundings, my city, whatever is happening around me. The following circle is what's happening in my country, what's happening in the country. And then finally, in the larger circle, what's happening in the world. In the area of art, what's happening for me is I am painting with pencils and acrylics these days. It's because I have time and I just doodle a lot. While watching a movie, I'll just draw or paint something. I'm reading books on art, and I look at the newspaper and see so much art in the newspaper. I'm going to online museums. I see art on the streets. I read about artists and auctions and websites, and I explore how art weaves in our everyday life. So this is what I will talk about. And since you're in high school, let's explore how art and science weave together. Okay, so this is a picture of land. Let's say the middle line over here is the Earth's is land. On the top of the land, there are mountains. These big things are mountains, and there are trees, and there are shrubs, and there are birds on the top of the mountain, right? Uh, when you go below the surface of the earth, there is the ocean and sea, right? So now, what is the study of plants and animals and birds and sea, fish and whales, etc.? It is biology, right? Now, when you explore what are these things made up of, um, the mm, the materials that biological materials are made up of is DNA, and DNA is drawn here, and it is a double helix structure. And DNA is made up of nucleotides that you may have learned about, and these nucleotides are made up of this chemical structure. So suddenly, from biology, you're going through biochemistry to chemistry. Now, what is a carbon atom made up of? Carbon atom is here, is an electron. An electron are circling around the neutrons and protons, and this is your atom, right? The atom you learn in physics, right? And then what you may learn in college is what is called quantum physics, which is how electrons move in space inside the atom. So you can see how biology is connected to chemistry, is connected to physics, is connected to quantum physics. And this is all in the relevance of what is happening on Earth. Now, if I move upwards, what is air made up of? Air is made up of nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon. So it's chemistry, right? As you go up onto the Earth's surface, where you go to the troposphere, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, as you move up in Earth, on the Earth's surface, you don't see oxygen and hydrogen. You don't see much of oxygen and hydrogen as you go up the surface. There's no oxygen, right? And so when someone discovers water on the moon, it is a miraculous finding. And somebody may say, "Arey yaar, what is so big? What is such a big deal about finding water on the moon?" Right? There is so much water on Earth. That's not an issue, right? But it is miraculous because from the Earth's surface all the way to the moon and on Mars, there is no oxygen and hydrogen, and yet there is water on Mars, which is H2O. So that's why it's a miracle. And finally, this is my impression of the black hole. We just heard last couple of days that the discovery of the black hole was given the Nobel Prize in physics, right? And our solar system is also, we have the sun, we have our solar system here. Solar system looks quite like the electron, doesn't it? It has the same elements of the electron, yet they are so different. And while looking at all of this, I've drawn a sort of tree between the top and the bottom, and this whole piece of science becomes art. So this is my introduction to how science and art and all that interweaves with itself, right? And the importance of this is because we as human beings have left and right sides of our brain. And to address this, I'm going to ask Atul to talk a little bit more before we move a little bit more into the realm of art itself. So Atul, I'll invite you to explore this right and left side of the brain.
Thank you. It's such a fascinating topic, Naren. And students, when I was your age, when I was in my 11th or my 12th, or when I was in my early parts of my career, I used to be a hardcore scientist. I would be into mathematics, and I would read quantum physics and biology. And I used to believe that the world is all about science, logic, and the stuff. Then some magic happened. Someone explained to me the value of creativity. And the more and more I explored art, I realized that if I become more creative, I also get better at my analytical work. And I'm going to give some examples over here. And Naren, you've heard me speak a bit on that. So there are two sides of the brain, the left brain students and the right side of the brain. And the way our education is, we normally spend more time on the left side of the brain, which is data, analytics, remembering, and the likes, which you normally do at school. The right side of the brain, which is art, music, thinking new ideas, creating new things, is sometimes lost. But think about the power of the right side of the brain compared to the left side of the brain. Its ability to remember things, its ability to create new things, like Naren said, is absolutely magical. And I'll give an example over here about, uh, let's say, if I have to remember a number and I'm just picking up a business card, this number called 214-733-0363. And if I throw this number at you and I say, okay, I'll give you 10 seconds, can you remember that number? Then the left side of the brain will fail 99% of the time, unless you are Shakuntala Devi, which at least I am not, and most of you are also not students. But now let's look at a song, something that one would have heard 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Naren, tell some song. Why don't you sing a song? One line of a song.
आज जाने की जिद ना करो.
Wow. And probably Naren came out with a tune so intuitively. And think about it, students. Think about any song, and you can do that with hundreds of songs. You not just remember the words, the music, but you remember the tune right up to that nanosecond. Just imagine how wonderful it is if you could remember things just like that. And that's the power of storytelling, creativity. So let's look at this number again, 214-733-0363. Impossible to remember. But I can create a story around it. I could say on the 21st of April, which is 21/4, some magic happened. A 73-year-old man and a 3-year-old kid came to me and introduced me to the concept of zero. And that made me so excited that I got 363 out of 363 marks in my school. I've just created a story. I can pretty much recreate it. I can say the number is on the 21st of April, a 73-year-old man made me talk to a 3-year-old kid, and I was able to, create 363 marks out of that, right? So the number is 214-733-0363. Otherwise, this number is impossible to remember. So the moment we create stories, whether it's in history, in science, and mathematics, and we go beyond the ratta and we get into remembering things because we understand them, that's when learning happens, dear students. So my only request before I hand it over to Naren is enjoy your studies. Be curious about your studies. Ask questions. I'm sure your teachers would love to answer your questions because you study in a great school and you're so lucky for that. A lot of schools like mine, when I was studying, Naren, they would say, Atul, chup ho jao. I was thrown to the back of the class and no one answered my questions, right? But you guys are lucky. So ask questions, be creative, read stories, get inspired, and trust me, all of you will do amazingly, amazingly well in life, which is what you want to do. And you want to be happy students, and all of you are superstars and you'll do really, really well. Naren, over to you.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was so inspirational and really wonderful way to remember things. Absolutely. So let me continue my journey of how I have been exploring art in different ways. And it's interesting that art in India really did not evolve for a long time. So if you consider art in India, and this is a picture from 1800s of the Indian subcontinent, and there are different places of art that occurred in different parts of India. And which is the art that really flourished is the folk art. Madhubani painting, Kalamkari, Kali Ghat painting, very distinct styles of folk art. Then you have Pichavai, Tanjore and Varli paintings, all very, very unique styles of paintings in the world. So you can study the history of India through the medium of art, right? Such beautiful art around this and very distinct to different geographies. Then, of course, you have the Mughal art, right? The miniature Mughal art in which kings and queens are depicted in this space. So I was curious, like, how come Indian artists, the Indian art world was not as evolved as, let's say, in Europe in 1800s and the 1700s in Europe. There was so much art that was happening, but in India, a very little amount of art was happening. One of the most famous painters at that time was Raja Ravi Verma in the 1800s. So the history of Mughal painting actually began somewhere around the 1500s, and it started with Humayun, who brought two Persian artists whose names are Abd al-Samad and Mir Sayyid Ali. These are two painters he brought from Persia to India to bring this kind of art to India. And of course, then Humayun promoted art, then Akbar in the 1500s, Jahangir in the 1600s, and Shah Jahan in mid 1600s. So this is the history of how miniature art has occurred. Very interestingly, if you go to museums in India, there is not a there is it's very, very rare, very, very rare, in even in Delhi, even in museums in Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Bangalore, these big museums that you see in India, and you go to the Mughal art section, you will not find a single Mughal art painting which is in the 1600 time frame. Not a single painting. All the paintings, miniature paintings that you will see in these museums are after 1700. For some reason, there is no painting before 1700 in India. I have looked and I've gone to every museum and I've asked museum curators, and there is none. Recently, I went to Los Angeles Museum of Art and I saw this painting. This painting is painted by in 1555 and signed by Mir Sayyid Ali, this same painter who Humayun brought. His painting is in is in LA. Remarkable observation. So when I went to the museum, because I was knowledgeable about all of these Mughal arts, I could appreciate this painting at a level that I think I could not have imagined if I hadn't studied the history of art, isn't it? So let's move on to another subject. I had shown you this painting by Van Gogh. This is called Starry Nights. It's one of the most famous paintings in the world. Right? It is a depiction of a storm coming in a city or a village during that time. I love this painting so much. It was painted in 1889 by Vincent van Gogh. And when I started painting in 1998, I had no idea how to paint. So when I painted this painting in 1888, this is what came out. They're nothing compared to what the original painting was looking like when I was, this is what I did. Then after many years of learning how to paint, I started painting again and I learned how to paint, and then I started painting this, and now it looks a little bit similar, nothing close, but still quite, you can at least get an impression that it is a similar thing. But after so many years, personally, I actually like this 1998 painting better than the 2018 painting. It is my impression of the art that is there. It is not a copy. It is my version of Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. So it's my creativity of that, right? So that's where creativity comes. So how do you use art all the time? So when I was in a company called Amgen in doing high science at that time, we were looking at a crystal structure of proteins. So this is to solve the structure of a protein, you need to pass X-ray through the protein, and this X-ray diffracts the rays, and based on the diffraction size of the X-ray, you can actually start getting pictures of proteins and and the protein structure will look like this on the right. It's high, very, very high magnification, but that's, you use this technology to look at structures of protein. So I used to go and work with scientists who were solving crystal structures every day, and these are the crystals of the proteins that you see. So when I came home, I was very inspired with crystals. So I started painting crystals at home. When I used to come home, and this is my impression of all the crystals that we used to see at work. And these are just some simple crystals that are there. I like the one on the left over here. How I did this painting was just an experimental thing that I did. What I did is I took acrylic paint on a piece of paper and I plastered it with bright pink acrylic paint, full bright pink acrylic paint. And then what I do is, when that paint slightly dried, then I put black paint on the top of that, and I just threw black paint on the top of that, right? And then I mixed it a little bit, and then with a spatula, with a knife, I cut out this size of the crystal. You can see, I cut out the crystal or the paint out of that, and see, it's come out such a beautiful combination of pink and black, and cut out is the white. That's one of my painting. So I just enjoy painting. It gave me great satisfaction in understanding how we were doing work, right? Similarly, I've explored how to do watercolor and different ways to do watercolor. Like in this example, when I did the watercolor, the horizon is in the middle. Then I said, okay, what does the horizon on the top look like? Then I made one horizon on the top of the painting and explored that. Then I made a lot of paintings. Then I said, okay, if the horizon is on the top, what do paintings look like? So then I made paintings with horizon absolutely on the top of the painting. And I said, okay, if that's the top, what does the bottom look like? Then I made a horizon at the bottom of the painting and made a lot of paintings with horizon at the bottom, just exploring what this looks like. And then I use color. So in the middle, there's a beach with a river and a sunset and mountains which are in brown, right? And these are your traditional colors. If you just look at this painting, it looks like a reasonable painting. But there are no rules in art. I can make the river orange. I can make the sky green. I can make the sun black. I can do whatever I want in an art piece, right? And I can make another version of the same painting with different colors. There's no rule in how to choose which color whatever comes in my mind, I just paint. So all of these explorations are possible in art. Like this, I have done more than 400 pieces of art, which I just explore all the ways to do different things. And in my garage, I put all of these paintings on the wall, so it sort of keeps on inspiring me to do more. And then the one final point about art and emotion is, when you see art, you can see emotion, right? So, for example, this is a very famous painting by Edvard Munch called "The Scream," made in 1893, and you can see fear in this boy's eyes. It is not anything. It's not a realistic painting, but you can see that the person is fearful. And this girl, for example, by Roy Lichtenstein, is fearful. You can see, I don't need to put the title, you can actually see the emotion. Now, if I show you this painting, what emotion do you see? He said, "Ye kya hai?" This is just a bunch of paint. This was painted by a very famous painter called Jackson Pollock. Now, if you look at this painting in an art gallery, it is not the emotion of the painting. But what happens is, it is the emotion that was evoked in your brain. If you look at this painting today, it will evoke a particular emotion. If you look at it tomorrow, it will evoke a different emotion. It evokes the emotion that is in your brain. That is what modern art does. So different ways to evoke emotion. And this is Jackson Pollock making his abstraction painting in the early 1900s. So I'll end here by saying that the exploration of art for me is a visual journal. It is a form of expression. It is learning how to draw, appreciate art, learn about artists, learn about history, and finally, it's all about enjoyment. And so I'll end here by saying as Atul and Dr. Sehgal and everybody will obviously say, is that the education process is not just about the science and ratta marna. It is about enjoying everything that is around you. So I'll stop here, and then maybe we can take your questions and have a discussion around this.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Naren. I think before we get a Q&A, and I request Renu ma'am and Mukta ma'am to also join us. I started thinking, why do we need things like art or music? And by the way, I'm going to ask you to play the flute in a second. I hope you've got a flute. So students, when I was in my 10th standard, someone told me IITs are great places to go and study. And somewhere it struck me, and I worked very hard with huge amount of passion to get into IIT, which I did. And I joined IIT Kanpur, and I was so excited about it. And after a month, I still remember I wrote to my elder brother. In those days, we would have letters to write rather than email. And I wrote to him saying, I don't feel the same excitement anymore. I'm homesick. I want to leave. I want to come back. Imagine I had given 2 years of my life to get into IIT, and now here I was not enjoying it anymore. And my elder brother wrote back saying, find a hobby, find an inspiration. And that's when I got into flying planes, Naren. I started flying planes and I became a qualified pilot. But the point I wanted to make, students, is you can't go back every day and say, oh, I joined IIT, or I got into a medical college, or I got into Delhi University, or whatever you want to do in life. Longer term, to be happy, you need to have a true hobby and you need to have inspiration. Every day of your life, you need to get up and you need to have that inspiration to do something which is different. Like, for example, today, my inspiration is to give back to the community, build a great university. Shulani should be the best in the world. Why in India? And I do that every day, and it gives me energy to do that. And take any great leader in the world, take any successful person in the world, students, they all have great hobbies. So that will be my passing thought. Get inspired every day of your life. Inspiration can come from any place. It can come from art. It can come from people you meet. It can come from people like Naren. It can come from music. It can come from hobbies. It can come from food. It can come from nature, anywhere, your teachers. But that
Absolutely right, Mr. Khosla. I think I thoroughly agree with you, because when we are born, and look at a small child, when the life begins in a small child, the child starts drawing something. You say what you wish to be, and the little flowers made by child, and the aeroplanes they create, and the creativity they have, the curiosity and the creativity which they have in childhood. That means it is an inborn thing within the human, and we need to match our emotions with our potential within, or the interest within us, which is there to overcome our weaknesses or any kind of a negativity. So we need to have a hobby. You are absolutely right. Some kind of a thing, like it is being said, when you are feeling sad, take paint and brush and start doing something, and put on the music, draw something. So your emotions will be reflected, whether you are an artist or you are not an artist, because the artist is within you. Everyone cannot be an eminent artist, but something, to express your emotions, we need to know that yes, we have to overcome. And each one of us face the fact of life, that we are sad at times, we are angry at times, we are motivational at times. So keeping up with those emotions, managing those emotions, these art and music and everything. Say that when you want to entertain yourself, listen to good music, play some music, play an instrument. So all these things help, and I think our Indian education system now is working on it, and that is why the new reforms in the new education policy also says, art integration subjects are related to your music, related to your hobby. Teach mathematics with music. Teach science with painting. So something like, when we integrate subjects, we come up with and we come out of those emotional setbacks. So that's very required.
So well said, Renu ma'am. I completely agree with it, and I think we have a living example right in front of us. Naren, he started, I'm told, started learning the flute around 3 or 4 years back, and now he's uh, quite an ustad. So Naren, एक छोटा सा गाना हो जाए.
ठीक है, okay. Thank you. So, students, children, and teachers, this is just an experiment. My guru is Aditya Sutar. He's 25 years old, but he's very, very knowledgeable, and he lives in Sangli. And I do my weekly classes with him on Saturday mornings for 2 hours. And so this is my attempt. Thank
A
you.
lovely song you have played at जाने की जिद ना करो. Yeah.
ये तो बच्चों, अगर आपने शायद ये गजल नहीं सुनी होगी, इट्स बाय वेरी फेमस पाकिस्तानी आर्टिस्ट कॉल्ड फरीदा खनूम. और लिसन टू फरीदा खनूम, ओरिजिनल वॉइस इज रियली लवली. तो आजकल नरेन, यू सीम टू बी इन आज जाने की जितना करो मूड. आपने गाना भी वही गाया.
नहीं, आपके साथ तो जाने का मूड ही नहीं हो रहा है आजकल.
Nice ghazal by Farida Khanum.
Yes.
Absolutely, very nice.
So Atul,
I think we'll love to hear any questions that students have. So students, if you have any comments, any questions, love to answer those. But any last thoughts that you have? Any other perspectives, Naren?
No, I was going to say, if you don't mind, I will open the blank Excel spreadsheet.
Sure.
So that what we can do is whatever students are saying, we can ask students to say certain things that we can write them so that everybody sees what we're writing. We can try this to use it as a whiteboard and see if it works, because we are always experimenting with different things, right?
Okay.
So, students, what I will ask you to do is maybe Atul, you can also, because I cannot see the chat while I'm sharing this.
Can you increase the size of the font a little, if you don't mind? Can you zoom in?
I'm doing that right now.
Right. Okay.
And what we will do is we will ask students maybe just to list, just as an example of list what is in your mind that has happened in the world in the last 1 month. Just anything. And Atul,
I will start because I've just survived COVID. So to me, it's COVID.
Survived COVID. Okay, let's write a few things. And we'll see where it goes, because let's see where it takes.
Jasmeet, ma'am is saying, or Jasmeet, I don't know whether ma'am or a student, she's saying focusing on yourself.
Very good. What else? Please continue.
And she's saying, I actually got a swing machine
Nice.
this week.
Excellent. Let's write maybe about 10 things and then we'll explore some of these.
Self-development. Parul is saying self-development.
Okay, excellent.
I would say managing parents.
Ah, yeah, so important.
Very good.
Learning new skills each day.
Excellent.
For me, I would say love. I suddenly realized how important love is in life from your parents, friends, and other people around you.
Hmm. Yeah, I will say India, the mid-size missile was tested, right?
Yeah, yeah. So Pallavi is saying growth and patience.
Yeah.
Asra is saying spending time with family.
Hmm.
Suhani is talking about improving technology.
Any hobbies that you're doing?
Okay, I'll start. Gardening for me. Jasmeet is also saying gardening.
Okay. Anything interesting?
And writing, Pallavi is saying writing.
Excellent. And um,
Shankar is saying making new tune in music. So this might be the same Shankar as Shankar Ehsan Loy, huh? Who knows?
wonderful, wonderful.
Is cooking.
Is anyone doing pottery?
Photography. Asra is doing photography. Pottery, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Photography.
yeah. Um,
Pallavi is also doing gardening. So I think we've covered that.
any good movies anyone has seen?
I saw a movie recently which has come out, Serious Men. Came out yesterday.
Nice, nice, nice. Very. I've been watching very old movies, and I watched this beautiful movie.
Yeah, there's a movie. I think I also saw this one, Enola Holmes. Beautiful movie. I think Arpita has also mentioned this.
Yes, I watched a very old movie, the Kisi Se Na Kehna.
Wow.
Dipti Nawal and Farooq Sheikh.
Yeah, I remember that.
Sweet movie. Yeah. So the reason I'm doing this is, for example, yeah, I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. So typically, what happens, Atul, is when I'm doing these webinars recently, what I do is we are able now to prioritize these is which topic we want to talk about, right?
Right.
Let's say you just give me 1, 2, 3 number. Let's prioritize, and Dr. Sehgal, maybe you can also contribute. Survived, we put as number 1 that we want in the next 15 minutes. We want to talk about these subjects. If it is priority 1, 2, or 3. So I'll put 1 for COVID.
Yeah, we all want to survive COVID. I think it's very critical for all of us.
Please give me a score of 1, 2, 3 for each one of these. 1, focusing on yourself. We'll say 2. The point is we have to pick of all of these topics. We are going to pick one topic to talk about in the next 15 minutes. Let's put 2.
Yeah. Learning new skills should be third.
Okay. Let's just go in order. Sewing machine will be. Let's put that as 3. Self-development 2.
1.
Okay, 1. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And we can be 1. Managing parents. Let's put it as
Yeah, we can put it number 2.
2. Learning new skills.
Number 1.
1. Importance of love.
Again 1.
Yeah, okay. Mid-size missile, this is number 3. This is just information. Growth and patience, I'll put it as 3. Spending time with family.
Then 1.
2 maybe. Yeah.
Okay, 2. Improving technologies.
1. That's the need of the hour.
Yes, gardening. Let's put it as, this is just information, right? 3.
Yeah.
Writing is 3. Making new music is 3. Cooking. These are just examples of hobbies that people are doing. And these are movies that we are watching, right? So now what I'm going to do is I am going to sort this, because it's going to become a little bit easier, because we have to decide in 15 minutes for next 15 minutes what we are going to talk about, right? So I'm putting a filter, and then I'm going to sort this from smallest to largest. So I've got my 4 ones. Of these 4 points, which ones do we want to talk about? Which ones do we want to talk about in the next 15 minutes? COVID, again, now we have to rate them as 1 to 3 within one.
I mean, there's so much talk about COVID. I don't want to talk about it. That's personal.
Yes.
But I would like to talk about love. It's very important in today's world, right? I mean, that's what I would like to talk.
That's 2.
But then Renu ma'am can.
Renu ma'am, is there any other of these 4? Which one would you like to talk about? 2. So okay, let's talk about love. See, this is I'm showing you a process of how quickly to decide which topic of the 20 topics that we came up with, we were able to quickly decide which one we are going to talk about in the next 15 minutes. Let's talk about love. So Atul, why don't you explore,
Yeah, I mean, when I'm talking about love, I'm not really talking about romantic love only. I'm really talking about the importance of being with family and friends. And when you get sick, the way I did, so students who are there or others who join later, I recovered from COVID 2 days ago, and I went through some pretty serious symptoms. And that's the time when you suddenly realize that it's so important to have friends around, family around, and the love that one got. When you've invested time in other people, students for example, all of them came back, they were ready to help you, support you. Naren, you called me a couple of times, messages you got. I realized that it is so important to actually have that network of friends, family, and people who love you, because that is priceless. And you, I think, remember these things when you have tough times, where you want people to support you, and you can put your head on their shoulder and cry, for example. So to me, I'd spent around 30 years of my life running around trying to do new things, career and all this sort of stuff. And I think there's one thing I learned was that in the next 10 years of my life, I want to spend a lot of time building old friendships, creating new friendships, investing in my students, investing in new friendships like these. So anyone who wants to be my friend, I'll be delighted to do that, students. So it's so important to have that network, in my opinion, Naren.
Very nice, very nice.
Absolutely. I would like to add here, with your permission, Dr. Chirmale. I think 6 years back, we could never imagine that we could work, we could study, with our family all around us. That was a distant possibility. We used to take our jobs too seriously. If I talk about students, they could never imagine that, with their family around them, they could be studying, and we as educators would be taking our profession, from our bedrooms. So I think COVID has made us prioritize our things. What are our priorities in life? Where do we stand? And yes, our profession as well as our family can coexist. I think COVID has gone a long way to teach us, maybe a hard way, but yes, it is an in thing that both the things can coexist.
I would also say here, COVID has also taught us, like how to improve your technology. Because I remember when we had initially smart classrooms, we had to tell our teachers, we had to impose upon them that you have to take some lesson or some classes with the smart classes, and you have to use the technology. But the COVID has taught technology to each one of us, including the ones who are not able to read, but they have, are write or something, but they understand the symbols. And even people like children from EWS category here, economically weaker section, also the parents are also helping them, and child is also able to. So the COVID has brought this revolution in terms of technology learning. So that's something very great, which is the need of the hour, and which was very much required. And now even when we see an advertisement of WhatsApp, a very old lady, who has learned how to use WhatsApp and how to send the message, it's something great, the technology which has come into each one of us. It's the COVID has done that kind of a thing, which is very, very positive in our life.
I so agree with you, ma'am. I give this example that, and this is for students also, learning anything new is not impossible anymore suddenly. And everyone in this world is today equal. So just because you go to a great school doesn't give you an advantage anymore, because I could be in a slum and I could still be watching the best videos, or I could be watching this particular webinar because it's also being streamlined on YouTube. So all those advantages that existed, in my opinion, Renu ma'am, have disappeared. So the world will be a more even place, a more competitive place. And that's just phenomenal. You just don't have to be the son of a rich man to get the best education. And I think that's so amazing. But coming back to love, Renu ma'am, and that's what Mukta ma'am also said. This is so amazing. I was in Delhi when I got COVID, and we were all, my in-laws also got it, and my wife also got it. And we were so worried. And then my mother-in-law made a beautiful statement. She said, let's look at the positive side of COVID. We would never have spent, all of us, 1 month together. We are here together because in one small flat together 24 hours, because we've got COVID. So,
Absolutely. Very right. Very right.
So, Atul, maybe we should read some of the comments, beautiful comments that the
there's
children
some
have.
beautiful comments which are there. I think absolutely. I think Jasmeet is saying that if everyone learned to love everyone around them, this world will be utopia. I think so beautiful. Priyanka is saying love makes everything easy and interesting in life. Absolutely. Zanur says love binds human beings regardless of the age difference. Wow. It's universal. Ira says love is blind also. Yes, love is blind. I agree, but nothing wrong in being blind sometimes. Especially at the age that students are, I think it's an important process to go through. So I think I'll advise all of us to get in love all the time. It's important. Just meet.
Let me mention, Ira ma'am is 50 years old. Professor
I mean,
Atul.
I'm 52. That's okay.
No wonder, Ira ma'am's love is blind, so she's absolutely right. Her love, she loves, like anything. So that's something wonderful. That is why she's saying, without seeing people with any kind of a comment or a critic, you love a person as a human being. It's a great thing.
Absolutely.
Atul, I would like to add, Ira ma'am's son has been, unfortunate, and he is down with the cancer for a number of years. And the way Ira ma'am has taken it so strongly, in and out, she takes her classes, and, at the same time, she is at Fortis, and in and out, she is with her son and with all her students, who she claims to be her own children. So, of course, her love is surely unconditional, and she's, of course, entitled.
And that's what love does, Mukta ma'am, Renu ma'am, because it makes you do extraordinary things. So
Absolutely.
yeah, ma'am,
Absolutely.
for her students and for her own son, exemplary. Thank you for bringing this up.
I like what Adya Kaul is saying. He's the comment is, I love this, that love is something you get after coming back from school, something you get in school, and something while you eat.
Absolutely right, Adya.
There's a biological reason for that too, right, Naren?
Yes, but that was so sweet. Yeah, you can get love from anywhere you can get it.
Especially when your parents are forcing you to eat. That is unconditional love.
Or you're eating the rasgulla or gulab jamun or cake or ice cream, whichever way.
The love is beautiful over there.
Kids know that very well, by the way, Naren.
Yeah, Shulini, Atul, I would love to hear a little bit about your university, and maybe you can share the video, because it's such a beautiful campus.
I can try to do that. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all talking about inspiration. So for the teachers and students over here, I have to tell you that I'll quickly tell you 1 minute about my life, but I come from a very small town. I couldn't speak a word of English when I went to IIT Kanpur. I learned it along the way. And I believe that backgrounds and intellect is not what makes people successful. we all can be super successful. And that's the passion that we have at Shulani. And it all comes back to inspiration. I think if you can give inspiration back to students and make them creative, then they'll be super, super successful. So I'm going to tease all of you because this is where I live. I'm going to show you our campus. I'm going to play a small video. Naren, if you allow me.
Please.
I was in Delhi till for a month because of COVID. Uh, and I came back only 2 days back to Solan, and I was feeling very sick. And suddenly, 2 days and I've got my energy back. You already see that. By the way, I've got half my energy back talking to you guys. But here's the video, and hopefully you'll love it as much as I love Shulani. Let me play it, Naren.
Wonderful.
So I hope that made some of the students and all you guys in Delhi jealous of me. But we try to bring in a lot of passion, a lot of inspiration, creativity, love. We spoke about that. And more importantly, science into what we do, Naren. We are multidisciplinary. And one of the things I'm exploring right now is to say, how do we bring these concepts of art and self-awareness and excitement into our students, especially in times like these. We do all these online classes and all technology is great, but so we're doing, we've started doing charity work. Today, for example, we're running a very interesting concert where we have Shafqat Amanat Ali Khan is going to play, and we'll raise some money which we're then going to donate to Gunj for the poor. So lots of amazing things, students, and when I say we, it's the students who do all of this, and amazing stuff can happen. And that's the beauty of innovation. Human beings, despite being at home and everywhere, they can still do amazing things. I'm just besotted with my students. Let's put it this way.
Actually, it's very nice to be with the students. That keeps you young, always. Rejuvenated, energized, and you are always inspired. So it's good to be with the kids and with the students and youth, because they are our motivators.
Yes.
There's one last question. Thank you, Renu ma'am. There's one last question, Naren, on art. And Deepika Kumari has asked this. She's saying it's a bit of out of context, but can fake art or any kind of art which has been taken from another artist be considered as art?
Yeah, that's a question that I've grappled with myself. Is it art or not art? And I think it is, in my mind, it is art. Because at the end of the day, it is your expression of yourself. And if you're inspired by something and you copy it, then it's fine. As long as you don't say that that is that person. When I painted Van Gogh's painting, I didn't say that that was Van Gogh's painting. That's my painting. That's my impression of that. So yes, I would say go ahead, copy as much as you can, but at some point, figure out for yourself what you want.
There's a better word for that, and I think it's very important as a learning for students and teachers, which I learned, by the way, in consulting. And we would say, do not reinvent the wheel. The point over here is that if someone else has done it, then get inspired by that and do it better. There's no point coming back and saying I've reinvented Newton's third law of motion, because Newton did that 300 years back when he did it. So students picking up where others have done and not reinventing is a great skill, and you should have it, because if you just do the same thing that someone else has done, then you've wasted your time. So might not be completely relevant with art, because art is very different. But I mean, at the end of the day, Vincent van Gogh, for example, was an impressionist, right? That's why he became famous, because he brought in a new school of art, whatever little I understand about art. And we are now basically getting inspired by being impressionists if you're painting like him. So at least I agree with you so much, Naren.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's time, and we are so excited to have spoken to all of you. I think before we go, I'm going to ask all the four on the panel, Renu ma'am, Mukta ma'am, Naren, one sentence is what you'll get to summarize your thoughts. Over to you, Renu ma'am, to start with.
I think we all should take art or music as one of our inspirations to express ourselves, to help others, and to be a good human being.
So beautifully said. Mukta ma'am.
Surely, art is a way to express, and not only art, any which way you can express yourself, be it art, be music, be it dance, whichever form of art you love to do, whichever form of art you think will express your inner soul better, go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
Naren?
I think my exploration has always been with self-awareness. Be aware of yourself and your surroundings, and follow your passions, and be aware that everything that you do impacts someone else. So
important. I'm going to say, Naren, and I'm sort of lucky, I am the compere and the host, so I can always be the last one to say and summarize. But I would say bring passion and love in everything you do. You'll be super successful. And I'm going to quote Shah Rukh Khan here, इतनी शिद्दत से तुम्हें पाने की कोशिश की है कि हर सर्रे ने हमें मिलाने की साजिश की है. किसी भी चीज को आप दिल जान से चाहोगे तो सारे कायनात उसको आपसे मिलाने में जुट जाएगी. और ये सच है. ये आई थिंक दुनिया का दस्तूर है. तो बच्चों, आप IIT जाना चाहते हो और आप 60% वाले बच्चे हो, तब भी जा सकते हो, कोई आपको रोक नहीं सकता. बट वो जुनून आना पड़ेगा, वो फायर इन द बेली आनी पड़ेगी. और जिस दिन वो आ गई, उस दिन आपको सक्सेसफुल होने से, हैप्पी होने से कोई रोक नहीं सकता. सो ब्रिंग दैट लव इनटू योर वर्क, into the art, into self-awareness, and go back and love your parents. So once again, thank you very, very much. It's been so amazing talking to the school again. Thank you, Renu ma'am, Mukta ma'am, but all the teachers and students on the webinar. I think Naren and I have truly loved it, and hopefully we'll be back soon. Have a great day.
Thank you, Narenji, and thank you, Atulji. Very nice. And I think how these 60 minutes have passed, we did not realize also. So it was really good. It was fun having, we all enjoyed.
Thank you so much. And thank you. Amazing, amazing. Thank you all the students also. And your love stories are just beautiful. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Khosla, Dr. Chirunbule. The pleasure was all ours. And I wish we did not have constraint of time. I could have, sung that "Jaane Ki Jid Na Karo."
एक बारी गा दो मुक्ता मैम, हम वेट कर रहे हैं, एक बारी गा ही दो आप.
I am sorry, I do not sing, but of course, I can repeat that line that it is just a beginning, I think, of the relationship, and I will look forward for many more such webinars, inshallah.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll do it in real, hopefully someday very soon.
Of
Yes.
course.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.